Today I'm going to show you how you can use a surface to label a different object in the surpass scene with a statistic. So right here are my spots objects that I would like to label with a surface that's been previously created. I'm going to use this surface that's titled cell wall to label the spots objects that I'm interested in actually analyzing. And you can see there are a few spots objects that are outside of the surface that I don't want to analyze. So the way I would do this is first create my surface that I'm interested in as a alternative to an ROI, or an ROI that has a specific shape that's not rectangular. And so there's a bunch of different ways you can create a surface that I'm not going to go over today, but let me know if you have questions on that. So I'm going to turn off this surface here, or I'm going to color it a little bit differently just so it's easier to see those spots objects that I am interested in on the interior. So once the surface is created, I'll then go back to the spots object that I'm interested in. This doesn't have to be a spots object, it can be a different surface object. Then I will use the label or the filter here, this filter icon from the spots object, and add a new statistic. You can then go to the statistic type. Oh, before you do that, you first have to make sure object statistics are turned on. To do that, you need to turn on the edit tab, turn on object statistics, and you have to have this on for both of the things that you're comparing. And then once that's on, then you can go back to that first object that you would like to filter out. Then you can go to the filter tab and then select the statistic of interest. The one that will work best for this option is to use the shortest distance to surfaces. And then you'll select the surface name of the one you're going to use to actually filter with, and it's called cell wall here. I will turn on the top part of my threshold, set this to 0, and then have the bottom part of my threshold be everything that is inside of the cell wall. So going down as far into the negative as you can. If it's a negative number, that means it's inside of the surface. And if it's set to 0 for your upper threshold, this indicates that it's either like within the surface or touching it interior. At this point, you can duplicate this selection to create a new object in the surpass scene, or you can use a label here to actually maintain the entire population of your original analysis, like your original spots object in this example, but then keep those ones that you're not interested in as still being in the statistics that are generated, but it'll have a label attached to it. So I can create a new set by clicking the green button and then selecting or like entitling it something like interior. And then I can go down here, and class A I can assign, and you can see that the number here jumped from 0 to indicate that those objects that were selected in the filter have now been assigned a class. And you can change the color if you want to, and you can also title those here. Then once I go into the statistics tab, I can look at a specific statistic that I'm interested in, like the intensity of one of the channels here. And you'll see that the statistic tab, the statistic I'm looking at, still will contain that label that was generated previously, so the one that's titled interior. And there are a few here that don't have a label in them, and those would be the ones that are outside of my surface that I created. So that's how you can use a surface to label spots objects or surface objects that are within a specific region. You can also use this label if you wanted to look at only the things that are outside of the surface this by selecting the bottom part of the threshold to be 0 and changing this upper border to be something larger, like 19. And so this would give the things that are only outside of the surface. And so you could repeat the same process using either a label or duplicating the selection to a new object in the surpass scene. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.